It's a wet one here in Vancouver. We've got the Hyundai Elantra gas model.
A facelift for 2024.
Ooh. Here we go. Pop it in sport mode. Woo! Everything lights up.
I like that. You just slide the shifter over and you're in sport mode. Not bad for a little economy car, is it?
Good.
What's under the hood of this thing?
It has a 2-liter 4-cylinder matched to an intelligent variable transmission, 147 horsepower and 132 pound-feet of torque. This is a front-wheel drive model.
So the intelligent variable transmission, it can do your homework for you. That's how intelligent it is. No.
Super intelligent.
All it is a CVT, and instead of it being belt driven, it's chain driven, and boy, it gets you out of the pocket and it works quite well.
Yeah.
Right now we're going to get into, we're kind of in the mid trim, right?
Yeah, we're in the mid trim.
Okay, we're going to get into the base trim. What do you get? What are the key standard features?
The base trim comes with a 4.2-inch driver display, an 8-inch touchscreen, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, heated front seats, 6-way manual driver's seat, a 4-way manual passenger seat, cloth upholstery, power windows and drivers, auto up and down, and a 6-speaker audio system. In the US, heated front seats are not standard.
Well, Andrew's already put it in sport. What else can we put it in?
Got to put it in S for subscribing, and you can hit that notification bell. You'll be notified when all of our reviews drop, and then you can watch them.
And we do this, the couple car review, twice a week. The first one drops on Wednesday.
We put another one out on Saturday.
So make sure to like and subscribe, but also follow along on Instagram. It's Motormouth_Andrew to see what's going on behind the scenes and to get a question in. More on that in a moment. And for me, it's Motormouth_Auto, and the links are below the like button. So over the next few weeks, you're going to see some economy cars mixed in with our reviews because people are looking for affordable vehicles to drive. The last one we drove was the gas Corolla.
Yeah.
How does this stack up?
Well, this is definitely a little bit more fun to drive compared to the Corolla. It's also bigger than the Corolla. This is quite a large sedan for this category. I have to say, I'm really surprised by the horsepower and torque numbers because this thing feels like it has more power than those numbers. And I love it that you can just pop it easily into sport mode and away you go.
So it comes back to that intelligent CVT that they have. The chain-driven CVT does make a marked difference.
Yeah.
The very first time I drove this transmission was in the Forte. This was years ago.
Yeah.
And I pulled away and I was like, what? This is a CVT? You have a hard time knowing that it actually has that technology.
And you know what? The cabin actually remains fairly quiet. When you get it on the highway, of course, and you really accelerate to pass, it does get a little bit louder, but I'm still surprised for this class of vehicle how it is fairly quiet. I even like the way the steering feels. Now, coming up in questions, coffee and cars, you asked, which one's sportier, this gas model or the hybrid? So stay tuned for that.
We don't agree on that one. We don't agree on that one. And we both kind of agree on the looks of this thing have been updated for this model year. So it's basically the same shell. They've put a new clip on the front and the rear. And is it an improvement over the last one, Andrea? I think it's an improvement, but it's still not the prettiest girl in the dance.
Yeah, I think it's an improvement. I like the front of this more than the outgoing model. The lights are really sleek and streamlined. I like the new logo. It's a stainless steel flat logo that Hyundai has added. But no, it's not the prettiest girl at the party. It's very angular and quite sharp. It's not the style that I love, but that doesn't take away from the fact that it's a great car.
Yeah, and it's big, and that's one of the things is if you're looking for a big compact car, Jetta would be up there, this is up there, but yeah, it's all the sharp creases. And we also have coming up, after questions, coffee and cars, another question about, do they change the style too much? We'll get into that later.
And you know what, exterior design, that is all a personal preference. Some of you think that the Toyota Corolla, the Honda Civic, and even the Jetta are very boring. So this definitely is not boring. It's very unique.
All right, let's get into what are the standard features on the outside.
So this gets 5.3 inches of ground clearance. It comes standard with LED headlights. It has 15-inch wheels available, 16 and 17-inch wheels, and a temporary spare tire. We've got a black grille on our model, but there is an available dark chrome grille as well, and also chrome satin exterior accents. LED taillights are not standard, but they are available.
So it looks like they spent most of their effort on the outside, and they didn't touch the inside. This is still the same interesting interior design that we saw when this model was released a few years ago. And the big one is the circle over there on the left of the instrument cluster is still there. It's an odd decision, but it's still there. And the big grab handle is still here in between the driver and the passenger. But I would say ergonomics, the way the buttons and the switches, the fact there's real buttons and switches are laid out, I like it.
Well, I find that the infotainment system is super easy to use, and I like all the knobs and buttons. We see many manufacturers getting away from that now. This offers a really modern interior. It's got the updated tech. Our test model has got the available 10.25-inch screens. They look great. I find that the storage is just okay in here, but it is what you would expect for this category.
It's the
it
door
doesn't
cards.
have everything.
The door cards are kind of small.
They are.
Yeah,
I tried to put a water bottle in there.
You don't get a lot of space in the door cards.
This comes standard with cloth upholstery. We've got premium cloth in our test model. And there's a new updated leatherette. The top trim gets it. It comes in light gray or black. Some new safety features have also been added, like rear side airbags, a rear seat belt reminder, and steering wheel haptic feedback is added to lane keep assist, blind spot collision warning, and rear cross traffic alert.
Available features include a 10.25 digital driver display, a wireless charger, 8-speaker Bose sound system, a heated steering wheel, hands-free power trunk, 64-color ambient lighting, and a moonroof. The Elantra is not offered with ventilated front seats or heated rear seats. In the US, a heated steering wheel is not available at all. Here's me getting in the back seat of this rather large compact sedan. Good legroom, good headroom, but look at this, on this model, there's no armrest.
Comparing the Elantra to the Honda Civic, it offers 42.3 inches of front row legroom, which is the same as the Civic. Second row legroom at 38 inches is very big, beating the Civic by about half an inch. That armrest, by the way, is available on the top trim.
And then you open the trunk and same thing. This is one of the largest in this class and you get a very useful space.
Trunk space at 14.2 cubic feet is just a little less than the Honda.
All right, we teased it already. Let's get into those questions.
Time now for questions, coffee, and cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
Does this still offer a solid beam rear suspension instead of independent? So the gas model has a torsion axle rear suspension, but the hybrid and the N-line model have an independent multi-link rear suspension.
Yeah, the thing is, for average everyday commuter cars, you know, it would be better to have independent suspension. You know, Civic has it, Corolla has it, and then you have vehicles like the Jetta and this that have the solid or the twist beam rear suspension. But for people commuting every day to work and school, it's totally fine. And if you like the idea, then you can get the hybrid.
And I don't know, I don't really see the difference so much between the hybrid and this. This may offer a slightly firmer suspension than the hybrid.
Just the way Andrea likes it.
Yeah, so I kind of think that this one is a little bit more fun.
All right, so you'll only really notice it kind of when you're on the ragged edge and you're asking it to do like really adverse emergency maneuvers. You might get better handling out of it, but that's about it.
Hi guys, I just don't get it. Wireless for the smaller screen, wired for the larger screen. Then it's the US gets this, but Canada does not, or vice versa. These things make my eyes roll. The car is on the assembly line. Why not build them with the same features at each model's level? Wouldn't that be easier, more cost effective when it comes to production costs? I'd like to know your thoughts on that.
All right, so if you have onboard navigation, then you do not get the wireless Apple and Android on this model.
Yeah.
Hyundai and Kia, or the Hyundai group, is moving towards wireless on vehicles that are getting their latest info screens. This does not have it. There was a battle with Apple and Android as to who had the proprietary maps. They've sorted that out. This doesn't have it. If you like the idea, don't get the bigger screen with the Navi. Yeah,
go with the 8-inch, although I think this looks just so modern looking with the larger screen and very streamlined, quite elegant looking, especially for this class of vehicle. As for the different trims, I know it would make our life so much easier if they were exactly the same, but they're not, because they're different markets. And, you know, Hyundai knows, they do their research. Different markets require different things. And although viewers might say, oh, well, why do you get this and we don't get that? I really want that. they've obviously done the research.
So in the United States, a trend across all mainline brands, meaning non-luxury or premium brands, they offer many more stripped down basic cars that we just don't get in Canada. And there's a price point threshold in Canada. We seem to like higher equipped cars, and people are willing to spend more money on them than they are in, say, some states in the United States. That's just a fact. So that's why they offer different trims in the United States. So we now have a car that has wired Android and Apple, and I put one of those $60 dongles from Amazon. Works perfectly. That's how you solve this with this car.
You know what's interesting though about this Elantra? In the US, there is an available power driver seat. In Canada, both manual. There is no option of a power driver seat. Usually it's the opposite. But this model that we're driving isn't even the top trim, and it comes really well equipped. It does have a package added, but imagine all this for just over 28,000 Canadian.
Including freight.
Wow, like that is a really good deal. Love your presentation and quality of information that you provide in your videos. Thank you. May I know which one is more fun to drive, the gas or the hybrid version?
I really was blown away by the hybrid. I thought the hybrid was fantastic, and it uses the dual clutch. It has the independent suspension. It's got the 1.6 liter engine, not turbocharged, but I was blown away by how good it was. And it's one of those cars that fell through the cracks. We never drove it. We just got it in the last 6 months. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, this has an intelligent variable transmission. CVT. What's interesting is I remember doing that hybrid review and Zach saying, wow, this really has a sporty feel. I'm really surprised by it. I didn't think it was as sporty feeling as Zach felt, but I do like the way that the hybrid handles. I think that this one is just slightly more engaging, but you'd have to try it yourself.
We agree to disagree.
We do.
And now it's time for our hot topic. What's this one, Andrea?
Do you think Hyundai refreshes their vehicles too often? I feel like if you bought one, they'd be 3 refreshes down the line before you had it paid off. And the one that you have would look outdated.
Well, we have been critical of the Hyundai group, that's Hyundai and Kia, of changing their designs very frequently. But you got to remember that Hyundai is in the business of selling new cars. They're not in the business of selling your used car. They want to get people excited about the next Elantra or the next Tucson or whatever it is by giving them new interiors, new exteriors. That's the job that they have to do. Does it affect the value of these cars used? It might.
Well, I think that they're offering pretty exciting models. And every Hyundai model, Hyundai has said this, that they like them to be unique and different. None of them are the same. I applaud them for changing things up and offering something possibly a little bit more exciting, but you are right. You will know when the vehicle is dated because they do change it so often. I think it depends on the person that you are. If you're bothered by having
an older car,
then maybe you always want the new and the latest. Might be a great idea to lease so that you can just give it back and get the current model.
So I think the criticism is they don't design timeless cars. Like you look at an Audi looks like an Audi, and it has for the last 30 years. They don't design timeless cars. They design trendy cars, and trendy sells.
You've got Toyota and you have Honda, and some of you will say, oh, their designs are boring and they don't change them up enough. So I think it's really an individual thing.
All right, let's get into the fuel economy. This is really good. The price is good, and more in our vital stats.
Let's start with pricing. We'll do Canada first and then move on to the US. The base trim starts at just over $24,500 and the top trim is just over $30,500. In the US, the base trim starts at just under $21,500 and the top trim is just under $27,000.
Here's the fuel economy: 7.6 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 5.7 on the highway. That's 31 miles per gallon city, 41 miles per gallon highway. Hyundai offers a warranty of 5 years, 100,000 kilometers, or 60,000 miles. In the United States, complimentary maintenance is covered for 3 years, or 36,000 miles. So you want a compact economy car, gas only. What else can you buy?
For your consideration, 4 vehicles for you to consider.
Up first is the Honda Civic with a 2-liter 4-cylinder, 158 horsepower, and a starting price of just under $29,000.
The Toyota Corolla with a 2-liter 4-cylinder, 169 horsepower, and a starting price just over $26,000.
The Volkswagen Jetta with a 1.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, 158 horsepower, and a starting price just over $26,000.
The Nissan Sentra with a 2-liter 4-cylinder, 149 horsepower, and a starting price just over $25,000.
So there are 4 sedans for you to consider.
Lightning round, 2 things we like, 2 things we like to see improved.
Really like the value this offers.
This CVT is really quite good.
I would like to see the option of a power driver's seat in this model in Canada.
And I want an armrest for the back. I'm never going to sit back there, but I want it anyway. And that's a wrap on the Elantra. Thanks for watching.
See you next time.